We'll take a minute or two before we start the next contest to give the judges a chance to shake out their writer's cramp. Tonight we are doing the first level, and I don't know if I told you, it's February the 18th. We're at the 3000 George Washington Way Auditorium of the Energy Northwest office complex. And we thank Energy Northwest for providing this facility. I thank Charter, but I thank them again for videoing this. And our backdrop today is courtesy of Lockheed Martin and the Mission Support Alliance. First level of the competition tonight. We have two contests. There will be first place, second, and third place winner in each contest. They will get respectively $300, $200, and $100 check. The top two in each contest will compete again, same place, 2 weeks from now in the Columbia Basin Area Council contest. 4 people vying for one winner. And that winner will go participate at the West Leadership Development Conference in San Antonio, Texas, on around April the 8th, I believe it is. And there they'll be, well, at the CBAC, they'll win $500 for first, $300 for second, $100 for third and fourth. When they go to San Antonio, they'll be competing against maybe 12 other students vying for several $1,000s and a chance to become a national finalist in Miami in September of this year. In this area, from our small community, we have had a national finalist in 4 of the last 6 years. So we have a tremendous program. You'll hear a little bit about how we help develop these students. Not every student we've had in the past has gone through the program that you'll hear about tonight, but many have and been very successful. And tonight I'm going to be joined, actually replaced in the interview process by one of our past winners, Mr. David Harris. David is a 3-time chapter winner and a 2-time Columbia Basin Area Council Leadership West winner, so he's been to national 2 of the past 3 years. We'll now start the contest for Energy Northwest Chapter 902. Chapter 902 contest, speaker number 1. How TV changed the presidency. How TV changed the presidency. Speaker number 1.
On September 26th of 1960 at 8:30 p.m., an estimated 80 million Americans tuned in to watch the first televised presidential debate between Senator John F. Kennedy and Vice President Richard Nixon, marking the beginning of television's impact on the presidency. In August, 1 month before the debate, Nixon suffered a knee injury that landed him in the hospital for 2 weeks. When he arrived to debate, he was still in pain, and due to his hospital stay, 20 pounds underweight. Kennedy, however, was tanned and relaxed. Nixon, along with looking sickly and his clothes hanging loosely on his underweight frame, was unable to bear full weight on his injured leg. This caused his posture to be thrown off, making his shoulders unleveled and his face contorted with pain. To add to his misfortunes, the makeup that his assistants put on him was melting under the studio lights, and he had to dab at his face frequently during the televised program. The outcome of the debate, to those estimated 80 million viewers, was that Kennedy won by a landslide. Radio listeners, a smaller audience, believed Nixon won by a landslide. But before television, Nixon's issues with illness would not have affected his chance at the presidency. People would be relying on print and radio for their information. For example, President Franklin Roosevelt was elected 4 times despite his paralysis and dependency on a wheelchair. If he had run in 1960, we would not be so sure of the outcome. But the Great Debate of 1960 and its effects on the presidential election is not the only example of the impact of television on the office of the presidency. Walter Cronkite was once said to be the most trusted man in America. He was the one who convinced people to have faith in the media when he interrupted As the World Turns to tell us that President Kennedy had been shot in downtown Dallas. On February 26th of 1968, Cronkite, who was a journalist and did not believe it was his job to influence Americans with his own opinion, and did a half-hour special on the Vietnam War with an editorial. Cronkite said that the war was unwinnable, and this is his quote, that with each escalation, the world comes closer to the brink of cosmic disaster, end quote. CBS network executives were surprised to find that there was little complaint or opposition to Cronkite's stand. Was this because of the graphic images on television and the already developed opinions of Americans, or was it because people really did respect the opinion of the most trusted man in America? But the full effect of Cronkite's stance against the war was not fully seen until 1 month later, on March 31st of 1968, when President Johnson announced he would not be seeking re-election. Behind closed doors, the president was rumored to have noted, "If I've lost Cronkite, I've lost Middle America." Today, there is still no other journalist who has reached the level of trust with the viewers that Walter Cronkite held throughout his career. And today, there are few who would say that President Johnson would have won had he chosen to run after Cronkite's opposition. A more recent event to demonstrate television's impact on the presidency is President Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky scandal of 1998. It was alleged that President Clinton and Monica Lewinsky had a total of 9 sexual encounters in a period stretching between November of 1995 and March of 1997. However, publicly on television, President Clinton denied the allegations with perhaps his most famous quote, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." If he had said that, perhaps only 40 years earlier, it would have been typed up by the reporter, placed in the newspaper, and set on front porches across America. However, with 24-hour cable, it was repeated and mulled over, broadcast right into America's living rooms. Everyone with the television set was able to see the way he said it, the way he bit his lip, how he looked off to the side, not to the camera, and the way he repeatedly pounded his finger against the podium. And all this was accompanied by the network-provided images of President Clinton and Monica Lewinsky hugging across the presidential rope line. At the time of the scandal, television no longer broadcasted news with trusted men like Walter Cronkite. News had morphed into entertainment. Cable news was seeking ratings, not truth. And today, with the internet, people can choose their truth. As for the future, the medium through which leaders will most successfully communicate with their followers is through the internet, along with texting. With the internet, you can look up any fragment of a speech or conversation and repeat it over and over. And because almost the entire population of the world has access to the internet, people in all walks of life can broadcast their ideas and point of view to everyone around the world. Perhaps the best example of presidential use is President Obama's Facebook website and online supporters. As for texting, in 2008, then Senator Barack Obama sent out a text informing us that Senator Joe Biden would be his running mate. This was a very good idea, because in 2008, 150 million people used texting, which is 70 million more than those who watched the presidential debate of 1960. This shows that to be a successful leader, you have to embrace new forms of communication.